That
I
is
got
sick.
the Reiki
Oh fuck,
symbol.
man. Yeah, that's
So
that's
what's your
sweet.
small story? It's called My Small Story. What's your
My drop in the ocean story, and as I couldn't be any smaller because I scarcely believe I exist, or even consider it. I wouldn't say belief. Is there you go. That's it. The is the end of the story.
Actually,
Right. That's as small as my story gets.
Actually,
My story is dot.
it is
Period. In fact, the period on the I, if you want to take the shortcut to the end of the story, you stop at the period above the I. So, my story, period.
What about
The story of O.
Hey, what does those step represent?
O is, as you can clearly see here, when I hold my passport up to the center of this piece, O is the shape of the world. So, you know, and I read Alex Haley's Malcolm X, and I was really inspired by Malcolm X. He was kind of a hustler, and maybe, you know, using his consciousness for ungoodness. And I thought, man, his epiphany of, if I'm smart enough to pull off a hustle, I'm smart enough to go legit and do legitimate things. And that was an important lesson for me. So I'm kind of like Malcolm X, I'm just you know? I'm asking 8,000, which is about 10 times my cost, and I'm on number 4 of 100. The last one sold to Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, who knew a lot of people.
Gloss varnish?
Theirs was not varnished.
Would you?
Yeah, of course. When yeah, and Swiss Beats. And they almost bought a second one for Kanye West. They were like, and Swiss, who I got schooled on real quick, is a kingmaker in this town, and he just married, I think, maybe the most talented and beautiful woman on the planet.
What's people's response usually when they, before I ask you?
It is a cultural Rorschach. It draws out their references and biases, so instantly their fingers fly and things start, little synapses start firing, and they recognize, you know, these are the people ask for, so I meet people from all over the world, so people sometimes approach it not thinking they'll see people they recognize.
What do you mean ask for? Like, these are the names of pop culture?
I ask people from all over the world who they think should be in it given the scope, which is famous or infamous 1900 to now. And that is a huge scope.
Right,
so, and I'm writing names down every day and adding to it and polishing it and making it more universal.
Okay. So every new one you do is a new list of names and pictures?
There's always room for improvement. Yeah. And sometimes, just like politics, make the piece. Like this, in the lithograph, Ahmadinejad is here, and several people independent of each other just winced at that. And even though it's supposed to be random, I replaced him in the new file with Nada, the girl who died protesting his re-election, and he moved he's still in there, but he moved. I respond to the people's, because I want, you know, this is a love letter, but at the same time it's a declaration of war. You know, this is globalism, yet at the same time it's just like it's the most extremely biased thing, because people bring their own biases and references to it. So it is.
It was definitely multicultural.
Oh yeah, and it could be more. I think it's too Western. I think it could be way more multicultural.
What stops it from being more
shyness? Yeah. Chinese people maybe just aren't as articulate about their famous and infamous people. Maybe India. You know, it's opening up. People are opening up, and I'm more aggressive now about, you know, digging for the names of the people that we wouldn't recognize here, but that are hugely recognized in other parts of the world.
Now, does this come from a dream you had or something?
Yeah,
or? Okay.
Yeah. In 1986, I'd been fired from my job as a portrait artist. I was dressed like an elf at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I would do portraits of people. And at the same time, I was like, I liked surfing, but only when hurricanes would go up the East Coast, and I didn't really know how to swim that well. So that translated into a dream where I was drowning in an ocean of faces. And my feeling was that that dream had everyone that had ever been alive, was alive, or would be alive in it. There were that many faces. It was an ocean of faces.
100 billion. Yeah.
It was I couldn't even put a number on it, but there's that many people in all of time. And so our first language as infants is faces, our mamas and daddies and all that face thing. So it kind of turned into a loop, you know. I was just like, I'm going to draw an ocean wave of people was the first thing. And then finally, after all these years, I wanted to become a crowdsourced website where people input themselves into a searchable algorithmic vortex. that they can link to and find links to anyone in the world. I want to create a meta portal for social networking sites, because there's no organizing principle for them right now. They're just independent networks. So that seems like
the way people can control their image a little bit,
so that they could just have a doorway to different networks. Like instead of going, oh, my Facebook page or this page or whatever, the all everybody thing where you search, and it could be any, it could be regional, it could be any keywords that people are willing to contribute to their searchable profile could come up, and it could get as narrow as wide as anybody wanted, and an equation would be built of everyone there, instead of like these pages of grids of marching images and information. I want a more mandala, like zero gravity arrangement of my info.
Yeah, I love winning cards as well. I'll put this up next week so you'll have a copy.
Sweet, and you have my cards. So
I'll get it from right now. Dude, it must be like the stories behind each of these images must be crazy. I mean, there's a story behind each head.
And the stories are changing every day. That is me and Marvel O right after he was born. I'm going to have to add a little girl to this image in February.
Where am I?
You are the biggest face in my moment. So you're like
I almost had you for a second. You kind of see a mild stutter.
You're like the Satchmo of my moment.
Yeah. I'm like, what about me, man?
So what are the other pieces? Just extensions of this expression?
Oh, there's all other kinds of things going on here, my friend. They're all over the place. My humble card.
Perfect, dude.
Do you typically wear a skirt for your own routine?
It seems like when it gets hot, the hotter it gets, the more I want to just like. And I find myself, I don't have to pull my pants up as much, and I'm not getting underpant wedgies. And
very good point.
And you know, without a shower for 3 days, I just prefer going like that. I'm not Scottish. I tried it and I liked it. That's how it happened. Because I would have like
Were
been.
you inspired by that one guy in Minnesota that always